And good morning, good morning. This is the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Eitayo, and I'm excited to be here today. And we are having another episode today, special broadcast day two. And then what we decided to do was to put a hold on a series that we started this week and decided to focus a little bit on the conversations and issues that have been happening in the society. We believe that being silent and being quiet is not enough. I believe that there are many things that we need to learn, there are many things we need to share, there are many things that people need to understand as regards to the conversations and the issues that we're facing in society. And there are many aspects that we need to also look at and glean from, and also get to understand the roles and the realities of some of these things. And so on the Good Morning Education Show, we decided to have two special broadcasts. Yesterday we had one, and we spoke about the time has come, and then we were able to talk about it, looking at the fact that we are living in interesting times. And of course, if you're familiar with what's been happening in Nigeria, you would agree with me that it's really the few days that have passed really has called for reflection and thoughtfulness on how to really look at everything that affects us as a people, as individuals, as professionals, most in particular, to be able to see how we can, position ourselves to be better, learn and understand what is required of us. And of course, we said that the time has come. The time has come for government. The time has come for us as individuals, the youth, and everyone. That there's always a time that comes for everyone. And once you understand the time that has come for you, it positions you better to be able to do the things that you can do. Position you better to advocate for the things you need to advocate for. And we believe that this really also puts in perspective some of the conversations that probably people are having out there, and they're wondering how, why, and so many things, and so many realities, as the case may be. And so today we're going to continue on the special broadcast just to be able to identify what is happening, but don't just stop there in identifying, but also find a way of bringing us together to begin to think differently and to begin to project towards a new future, towards a new Nigeria, towards a new Africa, towards a new continent, towards a new education sector. And our conversation today is really going to be like a mix and feel kind of approach where we'll look at being conscious of tomorrow. The reality is, a lot of us, we talk about our desires, our ambitions, our plans for the future. And so we're talking about the consciousness of tomorrow, but not just looking at that alone. We're going to be applying it with the competence of today, looking at the fact that it's easy for you and I to talk about our ambitions and our desires at the expense of our current reality on ground, at the expense of our current reality today. And so that's the real conversation we'll be having. And we are streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, um, of course, to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. And if you're joining us, please do let us know where you're connecting from, where you're streaming from. Um, Help us to understand how we can be of help to you. Join the conversation if you must. We would love you to ask questions. If you have questions, do not hesitate to ask questions. We will answer your questions. And of course, contribute as much as you can. But remember, let us know your location, where you're streaming from or joining from. And if it's your first time, uh, please do let us know so we can appreciate you. We always have a bell of blessings for first timers, right? Um, yes, mixed scenarios, mixed emotions in the period that we are at, but then we will have to do what we need to do, and I believe that it will also position us to become better, to have better realities as a people. Usually, we're joined on the show by top voices, strong experts in the sector, who lend in their voices, who share from their own views, different views, diverse views, but also contribute to make sure the picture is a bit more complete in nature. So we're going to hear from them from different views. We have the experts we're going to be talking of on so many things and that relates with the conversation of today. But then before they join us, normally what we do is introduce the conversation of the day and then take a step further to have a review on the headlines, news headlines across the world, across Africa, within Nigeria. Of course, news around education as well. And then we'll treat those headlines, and after we'll come back to the conversation of the day. And then, of course, begin to talk. And then there's a particular aspect or segment of the show where we will spend time to take your comments. If you do have comments or your questions, as the case may be. So, like I said, today we'll be talking about conscious of tomorrow, being conscious or consciousness of tomorrow, and competent for today. So that's the conversation that we are having today, and I believe that it will benefit someone out there. It will actually help someone out there, and I'm very sure that we'll have, something to glean from as regards that. So before we do that, let's just go straight to the news. We'll take the news and then we'll come back and then we'll talk about what we need to talk about. Do not go away. This is the Good Morning Education Show, and we have a saying that it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. So let's start with the news, and I will be right back. Thank you. And welcome to the show. Good morning, Safety Chick. Thank you for joining. How are you today?
Good morning, sir. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing yourself?
Very well, thank you. And a great morning to Nana, all the way from Ireland. Nana, great to have you. Been a long time.
Good morning, Nana. We missed you.
We're keeping sick. It feels like Christmas in October. Yes. So just before you joined us and just before the news, I was introducing the show for today, and I was spending time to explain to people who probably are joining us right now that we're having a special broadcast. We did that yesterday and we're continuing with that today. So we had to put a hold on our series that we started in the week, of course, because of the trend and the situation happening in the country. We decided to just have some reflection episode where we're able to reflect as individuals, as professionals, as stakeholders, as a people on life and way forward, things happening, current situation happening in the education sector, in the Nigerian space, in Africa as well. And so many mixed emotions out there. And we decided to speak to the situation in the country. I believe that being silent is not good enough. And so yesterday we spoke about the time has come, and today we're talking about consciousness of tomorrow and competence of today. Looking at both, it's just like a left hand and a right hand, and looking at it from that angle, you're able to make people understand. While we aspire and desire for a tomorrow, while we're conscious and specific and descriptive about a tomorrow, there is urgent need for us to show that there is need for us to take care of today, meaning we have to be competent enough today. Today is still a gift. We're not promised tomorrow, and we need to use that gift. We shouldn't act as if we don't have it today. And that's really what the conversation today is about. But then before then, I knew you came up about the time we're having the headline news. I don't know if something on the news caught your attention, if you like to talk about the news headlines, or you want us to take the news headline again. Do you want us to do that? So we'll hear your thoughts. Safety check.
Okay, because I didn't see it.
You said?
I said okay because I didn't see it.
Okay, we should take it again, right? Headlines. Okay, so this will be the first time we're having within the show
yes,
having the headline news twice. So it's a special episode, right? Thanks to Safety Check. Okay, so so if you're watching, it's not editing error. This is live. This is live, and it's not a fake show. This is live. So we're going to have the headline news again. Special request from the Safety Check. We're going to do that again, and then this time around, please pay attention because we want to review the news, and then we'll come back. Thank you. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back, and it's time for us to review. Why are you laughing now?
Thank you so much for doing that. I love the I'm happy I didn't interesting on several grounds because they even give us it's almost like giving us tips on the things we can even do in Nigeria for our own educational sector reform. Okay, so first off, the one of women leading, like that is just so amazing because the truth is women are great managers. No shade to the men, but I'm just saying that that women should be allowed, of course, competence. We're not asking you to allow because they are women. No, we're asking you to allow, give them the chance because they are competent. So competence is very important. Then this news about what's going on in India, the new policy and lessons we can learn from it. I think that we have come to a point in the world where we are borderless, right? And because we are borderless, we must be looking out to see what is working in other places and then see how to adapt it to our own realities without losing the advantage or the benefit of that system. So I think that's a great one. And then the next one is the Morocco and Tunisia alliance. Gosh, I love it. I love it because it reminded me of something that Mrs. Odigo mentioned, I think, last week, where she was talking about how it was possible for a school, for example, or schools within a particular region to collaborate and build a a, a highly developed lab, and then all schools within that area would come together and share it and use it. So nobody begins to feel any type. Everybody just knows that, oh, we have this lab that we all use, and on so and so day it's your turn. And that way, everybody gets good infrastructure to work with. Not a case where one school has good infrastructure and the other ones around do not have. So two countries coming together to do something like that, that is really good investment. And that's letting us see how when we work together, there's really so much we can achieve instead of everybody trying to do my own, my own, my own. I will keep saying this, that collaboration is an amplifier. It amplifies our work across regions, across country lines, across borders. It just makes things better. So I was really happy to read that. Then, so interesting again to me is Cape Verde. Cape Verde is wanting to invest in educational tourism. And you see, why this resounded so much with me is because in putting together a document about the way forward in terms of educational reforms, one of the things that I found in the research from young people across this country was it was mentioned that if we develop the sector here, what would happen is people would send their children from other schools to come and school here, and that would help us make money. Do you know that Nigerians give the highest source of revenue for US and UK universities? Because every time we are the ones going, we are the ones going, we are the ones going. And if we had great infrastructure, that that would have really ensured that more people because the truth is there are many people in other parts of the world who would like to come to an African country to do something, but when they hear insecurity or when they hear, oh, the standards are not so great, they are a bit discouraged. So except maybe if there's a particular research line or maybe there's a particular professor they want to work with, that's the only time they would come. I went to the University of Ibadan and I saw that we had a few international visitors who came because there were certain programs, there were certain professors they wanted to work with, not because they were coming because, oh, Nigeria is fantastic. So now if Cape Verde is, because Cape Verde is have a world standard educational system, what that is push, the messaging that will be going out there is that you're coming to this lovely location that is almost like a tourist attraction, for relaxation, but then you're also coming to get high quality learning. And that is just going to boost their revenue because people now know that, oh, you're not just coming for just to have fun. You're also coming to get something. And you see, what Cape Verde is doing is even going to take talent away from Nigeria. Because if it is really international standard, my dear, people will move. People that don't really want to go to US and UK, they will go there. And so I think that's a really strategic move, and we should begin to think of how can we make our own education system so attractive that foreigners want to come here and learn with us, interact, get the culture, and then of course go back to their own countries. And then, okay, what Italy is also doing, trying to reach out to Africans. So why is everybody trying to reach out to Africans? That should be, if that should send a message to all of us that we're actually doing something fantastic here. And the reason people want to reach out to us because they know we are doing fantastic, but they know that we would leave if we're well, if we're well incentivized, So people are now using their incentive packages to attract our talent to their own side. So why can't we do something better so that our own people stay here and develop what we have? So thank you so much. What I said this morning, and I hope we can take the lessons from it.
All right, thank you very much. That was very thorough. That was dissecting in nature. And as you were doing that remark and introspect and all those things, we had KK join us. KK, good morning. Great to have you here today. Good morning, KK.
Good morning. Good morning, Rotimi. Good
Good morning,
morning.
Ma. You're
So,
welcome.
everyone, it's good to see everybody today.
Great. So we are having day 2 of our special broadcast, and our topic and our guide and conversation for today is consciousness of tomorrow and competence
Mhm.
for today. And we actually did this as a follow-up to what happened yesterday. Yesterday, we spent time on that was the first part of the special broadcast, which we decided to talk about the time has come, and making everyone
Mhm.
understand that there's always a time that comes for a generation. There's always a time that comes to every individual. There's always a time that comes to a sector, to a group of people. And we must be mindful of the fact that we have collective timing. We also have specific individual timing. And we must
Mhm.
be awake to that reality that what the time has come for Rotimi Itayo is probably different from what the time has come for Ugochi. And this is where, coming from the backdrop of the things that are happening in the society, which is a bit sad in nature, but, sometimes it's just people being careful to not to mix up or force people into their own reality. So, for example, we have a lot of people in tears. We have a lot of people who are speechless. We have a lot of people who are just downcasted. We have a lot of people who are numb. We have a lot of people who are indifferent. Now, we mustn't take the fact that some people are crying and you look at those who are not crying and consider that they are not mourning, or they are not careful, they are not mindful, they are not supporting what's happening in society. Um, our realities will differ. Our frame and makeup are different. But then we must realize that everyone will have to plug in their energy one way or the other into the reality of making the sector, the nation, the society great. But we won't be doing the same thing. We will not all carry placards. And even if at all we all carry placards, it's not all of us that will carry placards on the street. Our placards might
Yeah.
be in the brain, the heart. Our placard might be putting strategy to work to ensure that youth become people into leadership. So
Mhm.
we had a lovely conversation, and it was kind of thought provoking yesterday. And I actually tried to
Mhm.
make everyone understand that when we say the time has come for government, and I explained it in the acronym of time. That the time has come for government
Mhm.
to treasure our citizens, because it's only when you treasure the citizens you will feel they are worthy of the next letter, which is I. They are worthy of investment. You need to invest in the
Mhm.
citizen, not just invest in infrastructure. We spent a lot of time getting loans for things rather than for people. And then we need to
Mhm.
make sure that for government, it's time for them to make bold, conscious moves to make apologies known, and also to make sure that they're doing things about the things that have been complained about. And then the E is in the time is that it's time for government to engage and also to execute. And we used so many explanations for that. But then when we came back to the people, we said, look, it's time for us to also begin to trade our talent. And I explained and dissected the reality of how the protest, the dynamic nature of the protest, how it became a living organism in itself, was because of the people who began to express their talent. And we need to look at this as the time has come for us. We are always looking out instead of looking in. And that's why the frustration
Mhm.
hits us harder than it's expected. Why? We feel helpless when the truth about it is that we are not totally helpless. We are not totally without help. And I said it also that it's time for the citizens, it's time for the youth, not just to look at it from the talent, but we need to begin to birth initiatives, because the truth about it is this: there's a golden moment that we have right now. It's not enough for us to protest. It's not enough for us to activate our anger in place of advocacy. Once you begin to activate all those things, it needs to birth into initiatives. So we need to start asking ourselves, what has to happen in education? Things have to start. We don't need to wait for too long a time. We don't need to wait for 2021. We need to birth initiatives. We don't need to wait for 2023. We need to birth initiatives. Maybe youth parties, maybe youth congresses, maybe electoral equipping and engagement. There has to be initiatives. And then we need to stop talking about it from, oh, we need to march, but we need to turn the march into a movement. And the movement is what will actually, regardless of, we don't need tweets to make the world listen to us. It is the movement that will make the world stand still. Because even while the world listens, there's little or more they've done. And then, of course, we need to begin to get to the point where we need to export and also direct our energies. And I said it, and I used several illustrations our energy is all that we are sure of. Our energy is all that we've got. So I just use that time acronym to say, look, the time has come for you. The time has come for me. The time has come. And they'll do their path. Whether it's good enough or not, they've done their path. We have to do our path. And then today we're talking about consciousness of tomorrow and competence for today. And the idea behind the consciousness of tomorrow is just looking at the fact that everybody speaks about a tomorrow. Just like Martin Luther King, we say, I have a dream. I have a dream. But you know what? We also have a day. We have today. Today and our dream, there's a space, a maxim in there. And which means that we must, as conscious as we are of a tomorrow, we must also prove the competence of today. If we waste today, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. If we waste today, we are not even competent enough to say we are deserving of a tomorrow. And so this is why I'm saying that I miss the gloominess. I miss, some people wonder, why should you even run your Good Morning Education show while a lot of people are dying and all those things and all that. And a lot of people are wondering, why should life continue? Why should you do the things you need to do? But then we need to look at it carefully. Not all public opinion is correct opinion. And the question is, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Do you know the instructions you've got for what you're doing? And this is why we must understand, while everyone shares with the plight of a tomorrow, not all of us were going to drop the issue of today. So this is the conversation we're starting with. And maybe Keke, I'd like to have your thoughts and conversation on that. Maybe Keke, you need to say hello to Nana because Nana is doing a shout out to you all the way from Ireland.
Hi, good morning. Hi, good morning. Guys, stay safe out there. I've heard about the numbers going up again. So please stay safe, Nana.
You said what?
I said the numbers are going up again.
Yes.
So they should just stay safe.
Yes.
Okay. So you wanted me to concerning the consciousness of today of my views.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I agree wholly with what you have said. Conversations need to keep happening. And even though this is a really difficult time, really difficult time, we just need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And when we keep doing that in a specific direction, then hopefully sooner rather than later, we will get to the place where we're hoping to be. So yeah, I'm a firm believer that you cannot build tomorrow when you arrive at tomorrow. Heck no. You're going to have to start building tomorrow from today. And the sooner we realize that if we don't do specific things today to ensure that tomorrow happens, then it's not going to happen. When I'm speaking with my children, I ask them something. I say to them, I say, do you see things today in your habits, in your speech, in your conversations, in your actions that are indicative of the tomorrow you hope to have? If you don't, then it's likely that you're actually driving towards a very different tomorrow from the one that you wish you are saying that you want to go to. So it's saying one thing and then doing another thing, but it's the actions that eventually lead us to where we need to go. And actions are a direct reflection of competence. So if you're not competent about the things you hope to be or the things you hope to do, then you better consciously begin to build competence in those areas. If not, then it's unlikely that you're going to get there. Now, another way to build competence is, as Ugochi said, collaborations. I don't necessarily have to do it myself. I just need to ensure that it gets done. So if I want to ensure that it gets done, how do I make it happen? Collaborating, agreeing that I don't have it all, I can't do it all. So who do I need to fuse with? Who do I need to start having conversations with today so that my plans can be birthed tomorrow through them and through us? And that's something that I think we find we struggle a lot with in this part of the world, because we have this mentality of I did it, not that it got done, right? And sometimes it's not so much who did it, but the fact that it got done. Many people start the conversations, but there's some people who actually put in the conclusions to those conversations. But without the start of the conversations and without the end of the conversations, then the result we wish to see may never happen. So I think we all need to just, as we've all said, consciously just plan towards the tomorrow we want to see. We need to really be able to articulate it. So what exactly is it that you want to see in the education sector tomorrow? And every teacher needs to say, what do I want to see in my classrooms tomorrow? What do I want my children to be able to do tomorrow? How do I want my children to be able to speak tomorrow? When my children go into a competition, how do I need them to comport themselves? How do I need them to carry failure? You know, how do I need them to carry their success? So all of those conversations, all of those viewpoints are things that we need to begin to look at, and we need to consciously begin to put the structures in place to ensure that we can get there. And as I've said before, competence is neither here nor there. You're only competent as far as that competence is relevant, to be honest with you, to the people you are serving. So if you are competent in your own right, but the people you are serving or the people you're trying to communicate with have no links with that competence, then it's almost useless, right? So again, that's another place where collaboration happens. My competence and Safety Chick's competence, for example, will light up the sky, because at this time, safety is a big deal. And okay, so how can we consciously teach people about safety? So we can then sit down and have those kind of conversations together. But yeah, we must say to ourselves, what do we want to see tomorrow? And how can we, just by doing the little bitty things today, make it happen? So yeah, those are my thoughts on being conscious enough about tomorrow to start to do something about it today.
Fantastic. And just before I ask Safety Chick this question, I would like to make everyone out there listening to us, or who will see or spend time to watch the replay, to understand one thing, that when we talk about today, we're not talking about 24 hours. We need people to be clear that we're not talking about 24 hours. Today signifies an era. And so when we say competence for today, we're saying competence for an era, competence for a period. Today is never a 24-hour period. Today is representation of all that we can leverage on, and all the opportunities accrue to us. That's what today is. Whenever you think about today, you need to project beyond 24 hours. So we're talking about skills and competence. We're talking about capacity for today, meaning capacity for an era as long as it lasts. And then the same time, when we talk about tomorrow, tomorrow is not next day after the 24 hours. Tomorrow, actually, even in the real term, if you look at it, there is no day called tomorrow, really, in the real sense of it. So by the time it's tomorrow, guess what you call it? You call it today. By the time it's tomorrow again, you say it's what? It's today. There's no day that is titled tomorrow. You have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but you don't have a tomorrow called a day. So tomorrow also is a representation. And we say conscious of tomorrow. Tomorrow is a representation of our ambitions, our desires, and our emergence, meaning that after we evolve, that is what we evolve into. So really, today is the ingredient that guarantees tomorrow, meaning that the era is what births the growth. So we cannot, in the real sense of it, looking at what we are going through in society, we cannot afford to overlook today. We tend to make that mistake in the quest of having a great life, quality of life, great future, quality of country. We sometimes disregard today. And that's why sometimes the calendar seems to beat us to it. Sometimes you just find out, guess what? It's New Year. So that's why you find a lot of people try to plan for the year, the last week of the last month of the year. I mean, for the new year. So you find out that the kind of topics on goal setting, all those things, you start hearing it around November, December, because everybody, and in fact, sometimes in January. And the question is, why do you have to wait till December to plan for 2021, for example? Why do we have to wait for 2023 as youth, as educators, for us to probably start a political party? You understand?
Consciousness, as you have said.
You said?
Well, just not consciousness. I think it's a lack of consciousness.
So I think I need to ask Safety Chick that question. So looking at the fact that we've been able to specify what today means and going beyond 24 hours, right? How do we build consciousness, but not just consciousness, competence for today, for this era? How do we get ourselves, and of course, predominantly within the constituent of education. How do we get to do that? Ugochi, safety check. Ugochi, are you there? Hello, are you there?
Okay, while we're waiting for her.
Okay.
Is she there?
Yes, KK, you can continue.
Okay, I mean, for it's such a beautiful question, isn't it? So one thing that we do consciously, because I realize that, not like as you've just said, not a lot of people are consciously thinking about tomorrow. They're just doing it for today. They're not thinking 2021, 2022, 2023. That's why when people go for interviews and they ask them, so what's your 3-year strategic plan? What do you hope to be? They find that question so difficult to answer, and they just stop, because they haven't consciously thought about what they want to do. Okay, so safety check is back. Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Hey, this network. Okay, well, let me not even say what I want to say. Okay, so the question was breaking up when you were speaking. I think it was because of the network. Could you just very briefly?
Okay, the question, I was speaking about the competence for today. Yeah, so competence for today. We're talking about how do we get people to build competence for today. We spoke about today not just being a 24-hour period, today representing an era. How do we get people to realize that?
Okay, so what the major thing just coming to my mind now is the fact that when people are older, it's a bit difficult. It takes extra effort to get them to do something. But if they've been doing it all their lives, if it was a part of normal life, it just seems seamless. We all almost everyone eats with their right hand, while we have the others who eat with their left. So if you've eaten with your right hand all your life, and then tomorrow somebody comes and says, wow, you've been doing it all wrong, switch to the other side, it's going to take a lot of extra work. And so people would forget. And if it's not a conscious person, they will just revert. They'll just say, well, I can't keep myself, you get. But now taking it back to the topic, if from when children are small, in kindergarten, at their level, at each level, these kinds of things are taught in playful ways. Oh, you need to plan ahead for your week. You need to plan for your day. You need to plan for the month. And then also in the home, because you see, if the teachers are doing it and then the parents are corroborating the effort, it makes it seamless. If the parents are doing it and teachers are corroborating the effort, it makes it seamless. So as these people grow, evolve into adults, they just know that you don't just live life aimlessly. You always need to have a plan and work with your plan. And when things fall through in your plan, it's not the end. All you just need to do is take your lessons and then you move on. So it would make things easy, So now that they are full-blown adults, set in their ways, like their ways are with concrete, cement has stamped the thing. It takes a lot of, effort, a lot of orientation, mindset, being in the right system. Because again, those who have teachable spirit, when they are in the right framework, if they, for example, they work with somebody like a Mr. Retimi or they're in Mrs. KK's school, they will just see that, okay, you don't just do things anyhow. There's a system to doing things. So they would imbibe it. But you see, that is for those that are teachable. But then I think as leaders, that's one of the things we must begin to put in our followers, in our mentees, in our students. The things we see that they lack, we must now be the ones to, teach them. And over a period, we believe that they will be changed.
Fantastic. KK, I guess safety check took words from your mouth. The way you were just saying that, I just saw the gesticulation.
Ugochi, I just love you. I absolutely love you. I love the way your mind works. That's you blow my mind every single time you open your mouth to speak. It's just amazing. Goodness. And she's so right.
I told you guys that you should watch your language on the show. Every time you just keep saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. All these things, this is infringement on our human right. Because a guy cannot just tell a guy, I just say, Jude, I love you. It sounds somehow, it feels funny. You guys are oppressing us. Your expression is oppressive.
Start it today so that it will be easier for you tomorrow, Rotimi. Just
Ew,
express yourself.
ew. Hey, I feel I don't mind being competent on that issue.
Okay, so spot on. So what we try and do, right? And for me, it's not just the children, it's the adults as well. But yes, 100% safety check. True. When the children are used to doing it today, it's then easier for them. It becomes, it's like brushing your teeth. It's like waking up in the morning and just getting up from bed. It becomes a routine. It's no longer something that you're learning, but it starts with ground rules, right? So that the children can consciously begin to plan. But for the adults, something that we do is, again, Nana, exactly. So again, something that we do for the adults is the way our lesson notes are set is such that when you're done with your lesson note, when you're done with your work, you actually need to take time out and include something that says, in my next class, which is my next cohort, I would do this differently. So when we're then planning for the new school year, we bring out all of those things and say, okay, what did you want to do differently? Embed it. So consciously, we're actually putting that into the program so that people are consciously saying, oh, I wanted to do this, or I added this, I didn't add this. So being conscious of what you're doing today actually helps you in planning for a better tomorrow, which is why you shouldn't just, of course, you can't plan 100% what you're going to do every single day, but it's really important that we are conscious about how we are living today and reflecting on how we are living, because really growth doesn't come from doing things. Growth comes from the place of reflection and saying, oh, what didn't I do properly? What should I have done properly? So yeah, we need to be very reflective about every single thing that we do. And the role of parents, oh my goodness, it's just blows my mind. Parents don't understand the strength that they have. So I do something with my children every day. I got them books, so they actually write their plans. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. This is what I'm going to do. I tell them, try and plan for the week. So, but some of them can't plan for the week. And I'm talking about my biological children now, my son and my daughter. So they actually sit down and plan and write it down. And then they check it off, and one day, maybe 1 week, I may not ask them for it. And I just come and say, okay, guys, let me see your planning notes. And they're like, that kind of thing. But I'm consciously letting them know that if you don't plan for it, you're not going to do it, or you're just going to wing it. And you can't do that. So it's really important how we do things. And I mean, technology features really highly again. You can actually begin to plan and make notes for 2022, 2023, 2024, and just be very conscious about how you're doing things. And then when children actually see you plan, it helps them also understand the fact that, oh, I need to plan. For example, my child can't just come to me and say, oh, mommy, I need this. I'm like, do I pluck the money from the tree? I'm sorry, you didn't tell me before. It's not part of my budget for the week. Like, oh, mommy, I really did. So I like the next time, plan. Let me know on time. And that's the same thing that happens. For example, 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, our bread's finished. My son loves to eat bread, as in bread. There must always be bread and sausage in my house. Ketchup, barbecue sauce, must. So he just comes down, throws those things in and just makes himself a hot dog or a sandwich. And that's him. But the bread finished and he didn't tell anybody it was finished. So my husband said, don't buy bread. Let us wait 2 days. Next time, he will understand that when he takes the last loaf, he needs to let somebody know. Okay, there's only one loaf left in the fridge, mom and dad, we need to buy bread. And that's it, right? Being conscious. So we cannot just jump and think that we're going to reap a future that we have not built. If you don't build it consciously, you cannot get there. And that's the crux of this conversation, to be honest with you. You must be conscious enough today while looking into tomorrow to say, what is not there? And how can I begin to make conscious efforts today? What are the conversations I need to start having? What are the relationships I need to start to leverage on? And leverage sometimes is not a bad thing. People see leverage and networking as a bad thing. Yeah, it's been abused, but it's really not a bad thing, because there are places that I can never reach that Mr. Rotimi can reach. There's places that, again, you cannot reach that I can reach. Same thing with Safety Chick, same thing with Rhoda, same thing with every single person on this show, Jude. There's some things that I can never be able to do simply because it's not on my front burner. But if I know that I have Safety Chick to come and have a conversation with my parents about it, heck, why not? She's a professional in that field. She's an expert in that field. So we must be really conscious about things. And we must consciously as well begin to lay down self You know, when we put self all the time in front, it creates a very selfish ideology regarding how we get things done or how things get done. And unfortunately, we cannot live in a space of selfishness all the time. We cannot be so self-centered that we do not even pause to say, oh, how are my actions affecting the next person down the lane? And that's something that I truly implore everybody who's listening right now or who's going to watch this show to get out of that place of self. All right. If we're thinking nation building, if we're thinking sector building, if we're thinking building, you need so many different people to build. I mean, think about a house. You have the bricklayer, you have the people who even cleared the ground. You have those who would, there's so much that happens. I mean, there are different types of carpenters. The one that does the roof is different from the one that does the doors, is different from the one that does the perimeter. There's so many different types of people. And so I would implore everybody that we truly need to bring our hands together and just begin to look towards tomorrow and say, how do I fit in? And how can I make this work? Thank you.
Wow, that's so profound, and I'm excited about this conversation. And just in case some people are wondering, how does this relate to what's going on in society? It has everything to do with it. A lot of people need to understand, for you to speak about competence, especially competence, bringing it close to consciousness, you have to talk about history. When I say history, I'm not just talking about the history of us as a nation, which is very important. But everyone needs to understand there is a place of, more or less like indoctrination, where you get to understand this is how things have been done. This is how things get done. And then everybody begins to look at it that a lot of us, if we are not so conscious, right, about the fact that our skill capacity actually will go a long way in accelerating our desires. Because when you have desires, when you have ambitions, they don't take into cognizance what you have and what you don't have. That's why you hear people say, of course, in the world of imagination, you are limitless. It looks like you're not thinking about the commas, you're not thinking about the buts, you're just thinking about the what and what is, what ifs. But by the time you come back to reality, then your capacity, your competence begin to come into the situation. And then is it a me or is it a we? Is it a me or is it going to require an us, just like you said, KK? And this is where we need to really understand, even with the struggles of advocacy, even with the driving change, even in the birthing of change, even the building of a new Nigeria, building of a new education system, we need to realize that we need to start building, improving, reviewing, auditing our competence for today. That's why you hear the word profile, right? The thing that goes ahead of you, that shows not just what you can do, but what you have done, right? That is what competence for today is. Remember, we must stop thinking about today as a short time period. It is not a 24-hour timeline. Today is an era, and it can be an era that will last for the next 3 years. Today can last 5 years. Today can last 10 years in terms of an era, right? However, tomorrow features every day. Do you know that? There's an element of tomorrow in every day, meaning that we're not positioning just for a future calendar date. We're positioning ourselves with consciousness and capacity, and building capacity, trading capacity, leveraging capacity, like you said, or sometimes wooing capacity, negotiating capacity. We must see that as a major thing to do. And there are some questions we already have. While I recognize, thank you, Nana, so much of your contribution makes so much sense and adding value to what we're talking about today. But Big Sister is online. Adekola is online. Thank you for joining. And she said something about be conscious about your interactions too. Absolutely, absolutely. We are going to be conscious about that. So let's go back a bit. And I want us to treat a question Nana asked. She said something. Okay, so let me read it. She said, totally agree with Safety Chicken on the collaborative arrangement. Collaboration comes with a lot of challenges. And so the terms have to be outlined properly. My question is, in a country like Nigeria, where the judicial system cannot be guaranteed, what is your advice for setting out clearly defined within the educational sector in Nigeria? Do you want to talk on that, KK? Or should I add the second question?
Add the second question.
Should I add the second question?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so still on the subject of collaboration, if one party does not live up to their own terms, how do you address it in Nigeria? Bear in mind that while $10 might have value in a developing country, it won't do much for someone living on a different continent. I will appreciate your view, everyone's view on this. All right.
So the first thing is, and that's where normally what I found in the education sector is, before we go into collaborations, we actually do a bit of background check and say, oh, who is this person? Who does this person know? So before, for example, somebody would collaborate with me, somebody else might have called, and you hear Mr. Rotimi say, KK, do you know anybody in this place? So somebody is looking for this, and on the strength of my relationship with Mr. Rotimi, he would probably then recommend me, or I will recommend him, just based on that strength. So, because when you look at the judicial system, sometimes it's difficult getting things settled in the court. So we often use very informal mediation type of systems to settle things. And yes, there's sometimes a bit of holding back where, especially when it's in terms of monetary and sometimes in terms of skill sets, where, which is where the safeguarding comes in. But if we keep doing that and creating these walls, then it's going to be difficult to move forward. So yeah, in a system like this, how have I worked on it? I basically let everybody know. So I use almost like a cooperative system where, so if this is the work that needs to get done, I split it up into 4 different parts, for example, and everybody has their own part. You work on your own part, I work on my own part, and we bring it together, right? That's cooperative. Collaborative is such that we're all working together on the same thing. That's what collaborative is. But I use a lot of cooperative systems when I'm not sure exactly who these people are. Okay, and I need to manage my risk in that regard. So that's what I do. I do a lot of cooperative, and then we all bring it back together and tie it in together. So it minimizes risk because, again, the structures that we have that are not quite as fluid or as functional as they could be. So that's what I do. And again, like you said, in terms of the monetary part of it, I didn't quite understand what you meant by that part. So maybe I'm not going to answer it 100% the way you want it answered or what you're looking to see. But the realities are, money is not the same. The currencies are not the same. Even if we are both Nigerian, for example, 10 naira to me is not 10 naira to me. They're just different because of the way where we are and what we are doing at particular points in time. So I always say to people, what is your value? You need to understand your value very, very well before you go into collaborative relationships. Know exactly what you're bringing to the table and know what you can forfeit, right? Because it might get to a point where, depending on the people that you're dealing with, you may have to forfeit. So if what you're bringing to the table is something you're unable to forfeit, then find a way to minimize your risk. All right. Find a way to have quick wins, all those low-hanging fruits that Titi always talks about. How can you get those low-hanging fruits in your corner quickly enough, and think beyond just that relationship you're looking at. Begin to project ahead. Like there's one session we had where Rotimi said sometimes you see people reaping so much more beyond the collaborative relationship. I wondered, how did they do this thing? They used me. No, they didn't use you. They just thought ahead beyond the relationship and said, what else can I do based on this thing that has been handed to me on a gold platter? So that's what I would say. Minimize your risk, find ways to be cooperative whilst being collaborative, and then know what exactly you bring to the table and know what you can forfeit. Those are the ways that I would put this out there.
All right. Okay. Do I still need to add to that so it doesn't become over syllables? When KK speaks, okay. When KK speaks, he just gives you a very good opportunity just to listen and sit down, sit back and relax. But we've been having a great conversation today. Unfortunately, network has taken away. Okay. KK is back. So I'd like to say welcome, welcome to the show to some fantastic individuals who are just joining us. Big Sister Adebukola Orenuga, and of course we have why is the name changing? We have Oreoluwa. She is joining us, and thank you for joining, Oreoluwa. Great to have you on the show. Saying very detailed. He's also saying, what's she saying again? Very good morning to you all. Oreoluwa Ogunshugba, the wife of the Otumba, all the way from.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes, she's an Otumba's wife. All right. What do I want to say? I have so many things in my head. I don't know which one to say, but almost time is up, and I know KK has to run. But before you run, let's just draw the curtains on the show. Just read 2 or 3 comments from Nana. Nana has just helped me out today by just giving us epistles. You know, she just putting out those epistles and capsules and capsules. So Nana, anytime Nana is on the show, I just put on my seatbelt and then I just relax and watch the drive. You know, it's a great time having her talking. So let's just read 2 and then we'll call it a day.
Okay, Nana says, KK, the mindset of wanting to be the recognized one within our community reduces the value of what we sometimes bring to the table because it makes some team members hold back on what they can bring to the table. Absolutely. If you're the one that is always going to be getting the credit, then why do I bother? You know, you're going to steal my thunder, even if I bring anything. So you know what, I might as well just shut up. Absolutely, Nana. If everyone works at getting the best work done without self-recognition, better results will be achieved. It is difficult to collaborate with people that are not transparent. Spot on. Okay, so Nana says, in my opinion, competence for today starts within the home and external environment. It is a shaped behavior. Absolutely, it is a shaped behavior. Mindsets, I can do this. Let me do this. We need to do this. So yeah, absolutely. And then Rotimi was just reinforcing what Safety Chick said, that building competence for today requires an early start. It does. It absolutely does require an early start. Adebukola Orenuga says, be conscious about your interactions too. So true. Be conscious about your interactions and who you're even interacting with, because sometimes that can skew your perspectives. Nana says it was a great session. Oh, thank you, Nana. Thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure having you here.
All right. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for the comments. Thank you for everything. And we believe that what we've experienced today is something that would help to translate our realities as we go forward. And as we approach the weekend, our counsel to everyone there is be conscious of tomorrow. Please be conscious of tomorrow. Have ambitions, have dreams, have aspirations. Nothing wrong with that. But make sure that you're not just holding on to a dream of an utopia without making sure that you're building the Herculean muscle of the quest of today. That's the truth about it. You must understand, while we mold our dream, we must build our muscles. Our muscles will guarantee us to be able to carry those dreams. So many people get weak at the place of birthing their dreams. Why? Because all they had until that point was desire. And desire is good, but we must gain that level of competence. That's what really, really matters in the now. The today that you have is a gift. Cherish it, use it, harness it, leverage it. I'll leave you with this illustration as we close. And thank you, Right Stride Services, for joining. I'll leave you with this as we close. You need to recognize that when you look at the fruit called the orange fruit, you would naturally see people peel it out of they'll take out the peel and then they'll bring a knife and cut it. Now, when you take the orange drink, take the juice about everything that you can suck on it, and then you throw it away. Now, when you do that, you've only had a part of the orange fruit. But that is
Mm.
different from harnessing it. If you're to harness it, you find out that the peel in itself is useful. It's useful, it's medicinal. That's the peel. Even if you don't want to use it as medicine, it is actually food. You can feed livestock on the peel. That's one. Number two, when you take the juice out of it, right, the seed is also a resource. Then the chaff also is a resource. It can be used as well. That is you harnessing what you have today. A lot of us, we leverage, but we do not harness. And the truth about it is, do you know that leveraging does not totally mean harnessing? Leveraging means taking advantage. Harnessing means taking full, complete advantage, meaning that you are going beyond taking advantage. You are actually harnessing, taking full. In other words, I can benefit from KK just because I can benefit from KK. But to harness with and from KK is going beyond what I can just benefit. It's going to full derivation. It's let me use oil and gas as an illustration. You have upstream and you have downstream, right? Meaning that there's value in the upstream, there's also value in the downstream. We must commit to harnessing our today. Our today is our time. Our today is our relationship. Our today is our struggles. Our today is our problem. Our today is our difficulty. Our today is our challenges. Let's harness those things now as we hold on to a great future. That is when hope will make sense. Not just sense, it will make common sense. We've had a great time today. And KK, thank you. I know you're multitasking. I know I'm taking into your time, but it's one of those things. Yes, yes. We are in the spirit. We understand. We are in the spirit. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And we believe next week, when we come your way, you'll be stronger in emotions. You'll be stronger in mood. Things will be better and brighter. But one more important thing to say, it's always going to be a great day for you, not just today, tomorrow, and always. Because on the Education Show, we have this statement to say it's always a great day, always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. Do have yourself a great weekend. Stay safe, stay out of trouble. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.